December 28, 2016, Tekad Purna, an Indonesian pilot, stumbles through airport security looking and acting drunk. He drops his belongings, struggles to collect them, and gets as far as the cockpit before he's finally stopped. What gives him away? His slurred cockpit announcement, which worries passengers. The pilot is pulled out of the cockpit after they demand he be replaced. Purna's drug test results come back negative, but rumors surface he was high on gorilla tobacco, a synthetic cannabinoid more powerful than marijuana. Chemicals in synthetic marijuana are varied, but experts say the most troubling is a chemical called A-bituminaka. If marijuana only partially binds to brain receptors, this chemical fully binds to receptors, making the effect of the drug all the more powerful and dangerous. Synthetics have caused death to some of its users. In Indonesia, the earliest media report of gorilla tobacco consumption was in early 2015. It wasn't until May 2016 that the National Narcotics Agency officially identified the active compound as A-bituminaka. In the United States, it's said to have hit the market as early as 2006. Synthetics are presumably manufactured in illegal Chinese labs and shipped abroad. Similarly, authorities here believe that A-bituminaka is not produced locally but imported. It's been confiscated a few times by customs in Indonesian airports.
Meluncur ke TKP. Siap. 86.
Hello everyone, how are you today? I hope you are fine and stay healthy. At this time, you are going to watch and listen the seminar about drugs, narcotics, and cybercrime. I hope you learn something and especially you can implement in your daily life. This seminar will be divided into two parts. First, you will listen about drugs and narcotics, and the second one, you will listen about cybercrime. Now, let's come to the first part. First of all, I have a questions for you. As you see here, there are two words in red, narkoba and napsa. I believe one of them you understand already and you know it, it's familiar for you. Narkoba. How about napsa? These two words are acronyms. What does it mean, acronym? Now let's take a look. If you see here, narkoba from the word narkotika, psikotropika, bahan atau zat adiktif. And now let's see napsa. As you can see here, napsa, it is from narkotika, psikotropika, zat adiktif. You can see the red color. So the definition of narcotic, it is a drug or other substance that affects mood or behavior and is consumed for non-medical purposes, especially one sold illegally. And now how about psychotropic? It is relating to or denoting drugs that affect a person's mental state. Okay, you have known the definitions of narcotics and psychotropic. Now, let's see the 5 types of drugs and narcotics. The first one is opium. What is opium? Opium is a depressant drug, which means it slows down the messages traveling between your brain and your body. As you can see here, the pictures of opium plants. The opium poppy pods hold a milky substance called latex that contains a number of chemicals including morphine and codeine. Latex is extracted from the opium pods and dried to create opium. What does it look like? Opium is a sticky brown gum with a strong odor. It can also be manufactured into liquid or powder, as you can see the pictures on your right side. And now the next question, how is opium used? Opium may be smoked, eaten raw or as a pill, or made into a tincture for drinking. And now, as you can see, opium is not called opium itself. It has slang names. For example, Auntie, Auntie Emma, Big O, Black Pill, Chandu, Chinese Molasses, Dopium, Dream Gun, Fidoni, G, Gamma, Midnight Oil, and Zero. Now, after you know the other names of opium, now you see about the effect of opium. Meaning to say, when you consume this one, what will happen to you? Number one, you will feel euphoria. What is euphoria? Oh, you feel happy. You feel so happy. The second one, relaxation. You feel relaxed. The third one, you feel analgesia. You don't feel the pain. But the fourth one, you will feel slower or shallower breathing. So your breath will become slower. Your heart rate will be lower. Your reflexes will be weak. And then you will have a problem in your stomach. And the last one, you will lose your appetite. The second type of narcotics and drug is marijuana, or what we call ganja. So you can see the picture of marijuana as you can see here. What is marijuana? Marijuana comes from the Indian hemp plant, and the part that contains the drug is found in the flowers, commonly called buds. But you can find also less in the seeds, leaves, and stems of the plants. The next question about marijuana is, how is it used? Some people smoke marijuana in hand-rolled cigarettes called joints, or another people use it by pipes, in pipes, water pipes. Sometimes they call it bongs, or in a blunts, marijuana rolled in cigarettes. Now we can see the slang names of marijuana. Another people call it weed. Another call it herbs, pot, grass, bud, ganja, or Mary Jane. So if you see a person has a name Mary Jane, it is another name of marijuana or ganja. Now let's see what are the effects of marijuana. So when people use marijuana and when they smoked it, they used to experience a pleasant euphoria or feeling happy and sense of relaxation. And the second one, they heighten a sensory perception. For example, they can see the colors brightly. Laughter, so people more in laughing. Alter perception of time. Increase appetite, so they feel hungry more. They like to eat more. Those are the effects of marijuana. Now let's see the third one, the type of drugs and narcotics. Amphetamine. What are amphetamines? Amphetamines are psychostimulant drugs which speed up messages traveling between the brain and body. Amphetamine is also used as recreational drug. The example of amphetamines are sabu-sabu and ecstasy. What do they look like? The appearance of amphetamines varies from a powder and tablets form to crystal and capsules. They may be packed in foils or aluminum foils, plastic bags, or small balloons when sold illegally. Now let's see the slang names of amphetamines. They call it speed, up, uppers, Louis, gooey, whiz, or rack. Now let's see the next question about amphetamines. How are they used? They can be swallowed, injected, smoked, or snorted. And now let's see the effect of amphetamines. If it is injected or smoked, People may feel it immediately after it, but if it is snorted or swallowed, they can feel it about 30 minutes or within 30 minutes. These are the experiences: happiness and confidence, talking more and feeling energetic, large pupils and dry mouth, fast heartbeat and breathing, teeth grinding, reduced appetite, and increased sex drive. Snorting amphetamines can damage the nasal passage and cause nosebleeds. If injecting drugs, there is an increased risk of tetanus, infection, vein damage, and blood clots. If sharing needles, there is an increased risk of hepatitis B, C, HIV, and AIDS. And now let's see the 4 types of drugs and narcotics, which is cocaine. What is cocaine? It is a powerfully addictive stimulant drug made from the leaves of the coca plant native in South America, as you can see the picture. How does it look like? On the street, it is usually sold as a fine white powder. And now let's see the slang names of cocaine. They call it blow, bump, C or big C, coke, crack, dust, flake, line, nose candy, pearl, snow, sneeze, sniff, spitball, toot, white rock. Now we see the next question. How is it used? Most commonly, it is used by snorting up the nose, smoking, injection, rubbing onto the mucous membranes. And now let's see the effects of cocaine. People will feel extremely happiness and energy, mental alertness, hypersensitivity to sight, sound, and touch, irritability, paranoia, or extreme and unreasonable distrust of others. And the last part of drugs and narcotics is hallucinogens. What is hallucinogen? It is a type of drug that changes a person's perceptions of reality. In other words, it makes hallucinations. Now let's see the types of hallucinogens. LSD, PCP, ketamine, magic mushrooms, mescaline, ayahuasca. Now let's see the slang names of hallucinogen: big shift, blue caps, buttons, cactus, media luna, moon, San Pedro, topi. Now let's see the effects of hallucinogens. Hallucination of sights, sound, taste, and touch. A blurring of the senses, such as sounds being felt or colors being heard. Feeling detached from the body. Distortion of time, direction and distance. Relaxation, accelerated heart rate, dilated pupils, nausea and loss of appetite. Okay, after you see 5 types of drugs and narcotics, now we see the reasons why people use drugs. The first one, probably friends and family use the drugs also. So the person is following their friends and family because of the situation. The second one, probably because of peer pressure. So the feeling of being accepted by friends is one major also that people can use drugs. The next one, to fit in, to relax, probably because of stress. So that person needs a time to relax, and then they use drugs. The next one, to seem to be matured, or probably media glamorizes it. Boredom, escape from problems. So these are the example of reasons why people use drugs. Probably there are some more reasons that I haven't mentioned that probably can be added here, so we may be aware of. And now we see the sanctions classification of narcotics law in Indonesia are based on 1. Users or drug addicts, we call it pecandu. 2. Distributors or pengedar. 3. Drug dealers or bandar. So these types of sanctions are based on Indonesian Narcotics Law number 35 in the year of 2009. There are 3 types. The first one, death sentence. Second one, jail. Jail here is divided into 2. The first one, life sentence. The second one, temporary, maximum 20 years. And the third one, fine. So, if you don't want to be punished, if you don't want to get some consequences from this, if you don't want to deal with this law, please be far away from drugs. Please say no to drugs. And now let's hear our President, Mr. Joko Widodo, as he was interviewed about drugs and narcotics.
Thank you, Mr. President, for talking to Al Jazeera. One issue that has brought all the attention of the world to Indonesia right now is the executions of drug traffickers. You decided to not grant clemency to 64 drug traffickers, mostly from abroad. It has cost you a lot of protests from around the world, especially from Australia and Brazil. You're risking a bumpy relationship with a lot of countries right now. Why are you insisting to still execute them?
Ibu Step, kita ingin generasi ke depan kita sebuah generasi yang baik. Coba dibayangkan, setiap hari 50 orang generasi kita meninggal, mati karena narkoba. Kalau dihitung dalam 1 tahun, 18.000 orang mati karena narkoba. Kalau dihitung 10 tahun, 180.000 orang mati karena narkoba. Dan kita sekarang punya 4,5 juta dalam proses rehabilitasi. Dan 1,2 juta orang sudah tidak bisa direhabilitasi. Ini adalah masa depan Indonesia, generasi ke depan Indonesia. Oleh sebab itu kita ingin memberikan pesan kepada pengedar narkoba, kepada siapapun bahwa Indonesia sekarang tegas dan serius mengatasi narkoba. Dan salah satunya adalah memang mengeksekusi terpidana yang sudah diputuskan oleh pengadilan hukuman mati.
You say 40 to 50 people die every day because of drugs, right? These are figures that cannot be verified. I've been looking into the drugs problem in Indonesia. It's a huge and very complicated problem. One of the issues is also that the police themselves are also in the drug business. Authorities working for the Indonesian government are involved in drugs as well. Why do you think that executing foreigners is going to solve this very complicated problem?
Ya, saya sampaikan tadi bahwa ini adalah salah satu cara untuk memberikan efek jera kepada pengedar narkoba. Dan kita tahu ada masih beberapa masalah yang harus kita selesaikan, tetapi ini perlu proses semuanya. Tetapi yang paling penting perlu saya sampaikan, saya tidak mau generasi muda Indonesia ke depan itu rusak gara-gara narkoba yang diedarkan oleh siapapun.
But you're not only a president, you're also a person. I'm sure you have thoughts about this, you have feelings about this.
Kalau Ibu Step datang ke tempat rehabilitasi narkoba, Ibu juga harus melihat bagaimana dampak dari narkoba itu kepada mereka. 4,5 juta orang harus direhabilitasi karena peredaran narkoba yang sekarang ini memang ingin kita kendalikan secara penuh. Jangan hanya melihat yang mengedarkan, tetapi akibat dari yang diedarkan juga harus dilihat. 4,5 juta.
But executing them is a very harsh measure. I mean, there's no way out. If you make that decision, there's no turning back the clock. Mistakes can be made. The Indonesian justice system is notoriously corrupt. Can't there be another punishment for them than just to execute them?
Saya masih meyakini hukum Indonesia untuk masalah ini teliti dan masih melihat fakta-fakta dan bukti-bukti yang ada. Oleh sebab itu, saya juga waktu menolak gerasi itu juga melihat setiap yang kita tolak, berapa yang diedarkan, berapa kilo yang diedarkan, dan berapa ratus ribu pil yang diedarkan. Itu kita lihat semuanya.
You looked at all the individual.
Well, I hope you learned something from these first topics. And the second topic right now that we are going to discuss about cybercrime. What is cybercrime? Cybercrime refers to any and all illegal activities carried out using technology. Now we are going to look at some types of common cybercrime that happens. Number 1, unauthorized access. Example, hacker. As you know, the hackers can access everywhere without authorization. Number 2, illegal contents. For example, defamation. It is ruining a good name of a person or one institution. For example, if you don't like a person and then you write something bad about that person on social media, I believe you will be having a problem with the law. The next example about pornography. When you put something, when you have a content about pornography, for sure you will be having a problem also. Number 3, cyber espionage. For example, spying and probably stealing state or company secret information. Number 4, sabotage. For example, DOS, denial of service, sending virus, or sending worms. The next one, number 5, phishing. As you can see, some common feature of phishing emails. For example, too good to be true, sense of urgency, hyperlinks, attachments, unusual sender. The next one, number 6, is calling. For example, stealing someone's credit card identity for transactions. And the last common cybercrime that used to happen is cell phone scam. For example, a call from one hospital to transfer some amount for medical expenses. For your information, we had experienced some cases like this before. There was a guy called a mother telling that her daughter was in the hospital during a school hour and they need some money to be transferred for a kind of medication. But the mother was wise because she called the school and then asking the school administrator to check whether her daughter was inside the classroom or not. And right away she found out that the daughter was inside the classroom. So it was a scam. And the good things, the mother did not send any money to that person who called. Another example of cell phone scam, probably you experienced these things. One day you got one SMS telling that you won a lottery amounting to 100 millions or probably 175 millions. I got some SMS like this. How about you? Don't believe it. It is not true. And I believe there are more than these 7 examples of common cybercrime that used to happen, probably that we haven't known until now. That's how Indonesian government really protect us, and they created at least 2 laws or regulation about cybercrime. Number 1, the copyright law, UUHC, Undang-Undang Hak Cipta. And number 2, the Electronic Information and Transactions Law, UU ITE, Undang-Undang Informasi dan Transaksi Elektronik. And because of these laws, you have to be careful if you want to upload something in social media. You have to be careful if you want to say something, if you want to write something in your social media. So please be careful. So please be wise if you want to write something, if you want to upload something in your social media, because you cannot do whatever you want and you upload in your social media. Well, we had some cases before about social media matters. I'll give you one example. At school, there is one rule and regulation that you cannot use your phone inside the classroom. There was one student who was using her handphone, and the worst was she did live streaming during class hour. You imagine what happened next? Well, the school called the parents and the students got suspension. That's what I meant. You cannot do whatever you want in your social media because there is rules and regulation which bind you. We had also another problem about social media. In this case, about someone's good name. Well, there was one student who wrote something which is not good about her friends on social media, and her friends did not accept what she wrote. You know what happened? She reported her friends who wrote something bad about her to police officers. Well, her friends has to deal with police officers at that time. You see what happened if you are not wise, if you are not careful about something that you will write in your social media. So, what do you have to do now? You need to remember about the 10 commandments of computer ethics. I don't know whether you have heard about this one or not, but let us see about these 10 commandments about computer ethics. This is the 10 commandments on computer ethics. Number 1. Thou shalt not use a computer to harm other people. You see, do not use your computer to harm other people. Okay? Number 2. Thou shalt not interfere with other people's computer work. Number 3. Thou shalt not snoop around in other people's computer files. In other words, don't spy. In Manadonis, jangan bakepo. Number 4. Thou shalt not use a computer to steal. Number 5. Thou shalt not use a computer to bear false witness. You see, do not say something which is not true. Number 6. Thou shalt not copy or use proprietary software for which you have not paid. 7. Thou shalt not use other people's computer resources without authorization or proper compensation. 8. Thou shalt not appropriate other people's intellectual output. 9. Thou shalt think about the social consequences of the program you are writing or the systems you are designing. 10. Thou shalt always use a computer in ways that ensure considerations or attentions and respect for your fellow human. Well, I do hope you will remember these 10 commandments on computer ethics, but do not just remember, but you obey, you do, you implement in your daily life. Well, if you do this, I believe you will have no problem whenever you want to create something, you want to say something, you want to write something, especially in your social media.
Online data privacy and safety. Today, these two maybe is in shortage, not because our data not protected online, but because many irresponsible people try very keenly to breach various layers of online data security. Based on the 2018 until 2020 National Cyber and Crypto Agency or BSSN report, the cyber attacks in Indonesia have reached hundreds of million cases. In 2018, the cyber attack cases reportedly on 12,800,000 more cases, and then in 2019 it increased to 98 million cases more, and then in 2020 the cases is skyrocketed to 300 million more cases in Indonesia. The number of cyber attacks in 2020 have been increased 24.5 times from 2018. Through the years, all the malware that being used on cyber attacks are viruses, worms, trojans, spyware, adware, and also ransomware. And all of these attacks can be done only with one click.
Indonesia recently suffered a cyber attack as the social health insurance of BPJS data of many citizens was stolen and leaked to an online forum by irresponsible parties. Up to 279 million personal data were leaked online. Immediate measures have been taken by the BPJS as well as the Communications and Informatics Ministry, while an investigation is currently underway. Regarding data security, experts already conclude that data breach is inevitable. However, the possibility of such an event can be lowered.
Selalu yang namanya software itu ada namanya bolongnya, ya, kemungkinan hole, kemungkinan dihack, dan itu setiap saat itu biasanya ada ditemukan yang baru setiap minggu, kadang setiap bulan, jadi harus diperbaiki terus. Nah, kemudian artinya harus ada semacam prosedur kan. Nah, software sudah dipasang, tapi belum cukup, harus ada prosedur yang memastikan setiap saat dicek itu. Ketika ada software itu ditemukan, diumumkan di internet, oh ini ada kemungkinan bocor, lah itu harus segera people-nya, ya, orangnya siapa yang ngerti ahli security ini, dia harus kemudian mengupgrade-nya dan membetulkan, memastikan ini aman atau tidak. Dan itu adalah satu proses untuk memastikan bahwa data yang tersimpan di dalam database atau dalam sistem atau apapun itu akan aman, ya. Dan ini yang memastikan kalau itu dilakukan sesuai dengan prosedur. Bukan kita nggak bisa bilang bahwa pasti tidak akan bocor, tetapi kemungkinan bocor bisa kita redam.
These days, personal data is a very precious commodity. On the black market, such information is viewed as profitable goods, and in most cases, it is used in illegal financial activities. Most times, we need to secure our personal and private data. When we have to share or provide data online, we need to ensure that the app or website we are using is legitimate. We also have to be more vigilant in sharing our data offline.
We have to be wiser, smarter, and also more aware when we about to share any personal data information, not only online, but also on offline activities. Because our data safety and security is also our responsibility. Are Satya, Andre Saputra, for Today.
Well, I hope you learned something from this seminar. The last but not the least that I want to say to you, say no to drugs, and remember and obey the 10 commandments of computer ethics. May God bless each one of us, and especially when you study here at MIS.
Meluncur ke TKP. Siap. 86.